So listen, Billy Graham said a coach will impact more people in 1 year than the average person will in an entire lifetime. So I'm going to take his quote and I'm going to add a good coach will positively impact more people in 1 year than the average person will in a lifetime. I'm your host, Coach P, and I'm excited about highlighting the unsung heroes, the good coaches that dedicate their time, their energy, and sometimes even their money to pouring into young people day after day, month after month, year after year. Here at the Coaches Co-op, we are highlighting coaches. That's what we're here to do. So today, I'm happy to highlight one of my favorite people. Everybody give it up for the head girls track and cross country coach at West Fork, Miss Ayana Weeks.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so Coach Weeks, I'm gonna give them a little bit of background information about you, and then I'm gonna let you jump in and tell us a little bit more about yourself if you'd like to. All right, so Coach Weeks is a graduate of McNeese State University in Lake Charles, Louisiana, where she was a track and field athlete. She's got a Bachelor of Arts in History and Social Studies. She's got a master's from Arkansas State University, and she is currently enrolled as she works on her principal certification. She's gonna be one of your bosses. So if you're listening or watching to this, I'm telling you right now, she's gonna be your AD one day, maybe even your superintendent one day. All right.
One
So
day.
Coach Weeks, tell us a little bit about yourself if you'd like to. Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that you want to add to that?
Awesome. No, that was a great highlight. Yeah, like you said, I'm a head track and head cross country coach. This is my 6th year as a coach and my 4th year as a head coach. So working my way up, and can't seem to stay out of school. It seems like every other year I enroll in some kind of class or certification or whatever the case is. So we're starting on that this summer, and I'm excited for that. So, but no, I think that was good. You touched everything.
Awesome, awesome. So let's talk a little bit of, we're just jumping, we're diving right in, and let's talk a little bit of, let's talk coaching, and then let's talk track and field. You okay with that?
Absolutely.
Okay, so you ran at McNeese,
Hmm.
and I mean, of course, I know that you were a sprinter, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
So
so go ahead.
my bad. I was just going to
No,
say
you got it.
specifically 200 and under. So 200, 100 when I was outdoors, and then indoors 260 and a relay, sprinkle those in there.
Okay, so what's your PR? What's your outdoor PR?
My outdoor PR in the 100 was 12:0. So never quite broke
Okay,
12 seconds. And that was kind of a, for me in my career. Actually ended up being a much more successful 200 runner. And that was like 25 mid. I can't actually remember the exact number, but much better than I ended up being a 100 runner, which was to my surprise when I got to college. So yeah.
okay, okay. So when when did you start running? Like when did you know that, all right, listen, track and field, that's my thing.
Okay, so I grew up in Beaumont. I grew up in Beaumont, Texas, and I know it might not look like it, but I'm still a part of the generation that went outside. I promise. We went outside and played. We were on the streets till dark. Like we were in the grass, in the pools, and whatever. Right. So we were outdoors. And so just honestly, just like racing the neighborhood kids, racing kids, and I mean, eventually you run out of girls to race. You got to race the boys. So just racing the boys, elementary school on the playground. I didn't actually run organized track though until middle school, like when you would actually like put on a uniform and, get
Hmm.
spikes and all of that. But just, I mean, I've always had the athletic background, I guess, going into it, but didn't actually join organized sports until middle school.
Okay, okay. So grew up in Beaumont, ran track in high school in San Antonio,
Yes.
right?
Correct. Yes. A lot of
Okay,
moves growing up, but finished school in San Antonio.
okay. So when did you know you wanted to coach?
Probably my junior year of high school. If not, maybe my senior year, but just going into ending high school and realizing that I still wanted to run track past high school. That was a big realization too, because I wasn't sure. I was always on the fence about it. And at the end of my junior year, I decided, okay, this is what I want to do, but then it becomes how are we going to go about it, right? And the path to that was getting an education, getting in coaching, had a great coach that inspired me to do that. So I would say around my senior year, I decided, okay, I want to be a high school educator, excuse me, and I want to be a high school coach.
Okay. So did you know you wanted to teach as well? Or was
Yeah.
it kind of like, I
Oh
want to
no.
coach, but I got to teach too. So I
No,
guess I'll do that.
no, I wanted to teach. I come from a family of teachers, honestly. My mom used to joke when I was growing up, "Oh, if you go to college to be a teacher, we're not paying for your education." Well, okay, mom, got a scholarship, so you don't have to. Now I'm going to be a teacher, right? That was the joke. It was always long line of teachers. It was always like, go do something else. But this is where my heart was, and even though I had a coach inspire me to be a coach, like I knew that you have to teach to be a coach in Texas. We know that's a law, right? And then B, I knew that I would impact more people too, being an educator and a coach. So I never had a problem doing both.
Mhm.
Deciding what to teach was a problem at first, but I always knew I wanted to do both and have loved both of them.
Okay. Okay. So your parents wanted you to do something else, but obviously your heart was in teaching and coaching. So tell us what's your why? Why does Coach Weeks do what Coach Weeks does?
My why. So when I want to say I was in high school. Obama was running for his second term. Okay, and so I got to vote. That was the first election I voted in 2012.
Okay.
And I heard a Michelle Obama quote sometime during that period, and this isn't verbatim, but something along the lines of, "When you walk through the door of opportunity, you don't close it behind you. You leave it open. You reach back and pull others through." Right. So that was the switch for me, and I wanted to live by that. And essentially every day I try to live by that, right? Whatever I'm blessed with, we're going to pass it along too. So that was the start of like what career I was going to enter. It took a while, like I said, to figure out what to teach. But always, I don't know, I always had that passion was there too. When I actually got into education and coaching, you realize the lack of females that are in education and coaching. And we're not just talking about the coaches or the bosses or whomever. I'm talking about the participants, the athletes, right?
Hmm.
It's only 38% of girls in athletics versus it's in the mid 70s for boys. Okay. So when we know that kids oftentimes don't come to school or achieve in school just for academics, they want to do other things, right? They want to be involved. You want to be, you want to be welcomed into something and embrace something and be successful in things. And so keeping girls in sports, keeping girls in athletics in general is a huge passion of mine. And that's why I'm seeking the administrator certificate too, so that I can work in an administrator level and keep that in a flow at an administrator level.
So what your opinion, your best guess,
Mhm.
why is there such a disparity? Why is it 61% of boys and then 38% of girls?
That's a good question. I want to say the support around it, right? We know that obviously with the passing of Title IX 51 years ago, probably about to be 52 years ago, that was something, that funding to get people involved, to offer scholarships to girls and things of that nature, to keep them get them athletics and keep them in athletics. I would say that support and funding is probably the two biggest reasons that people leave whatever they leave, right? They may not feel supported, they may not feel like purposeful in it, but we know that being involved in high school sports isn't just about winning. It's life skills interwoven with your athletics, right? So
Right.
I think I would say those two reasons.
So I'm looking at this. Women compromise just 18% of qualified coaches.
Right.
So and then women compromise just 9%, less than 10%
Hmm.
of senior coaches. So
Hmm.
what's the hurdle? What are the hurdles there, and how can, because of course we know each other, but I'm a man
Hmm.
who works in women's sports, and I'm
Hmm.
always looking for women's coaches, and I
We
know
all
that
are. Yep.
it's difficult. So what are the hurdles, and then how can we remove those hurdles? I'm not even going to say help, you
Right.
know, women who want to coach jump over hurdles. How can we remove those hurdles? What are they? And how do we just, let's get the hurdle crew and let's get these hurdles off the track. What do we
I
need to do?
think the to clear up the hurdles, I think hurdle crew I think a lot of it is not feeling. I want to go back to support also on the women's side. Maybe they don't see the same success as some of their male peers, male colleagues that are coaches, and maybe we see a lack of support. And then traditionally, education is a woman's field, right? There's typically more women in education than there are men. And I think a lot of those female teachers may see more success in the classroom too, and be more encouraged to move and like leave athletics and then take maybe an admin route or whatever the case is, right? And which causes you to not be a coach anymore, at least in schools in Texas. So I think that's a big part of it. But we also know that the world is changing, and from the type of fans and whatever the case is, like coaches aren't always maybe cherished and honored like they may should be. And I see where that could run people off also, not feeling like they're supported, not just from school, but anywhere outside of it too.
Yeah. So, um, so for women who, maybe want families, right? So
Right.
I want a family. Is that a hurdle?
100%. Like when we talk about the wage gap, let's take it out of sports, right? When we talk about the
Hmm.
wage gap and women make 83 cents every man's dollar, that's not saying me and this person A are doing the exact same job and he's making this much more than I am, even though we're doing the same thing. What that means is women typically, like you said, are they're starting families, they're having the same home with kids, they're missing significant time off of work. And when men don't have to do that, right, they have more of a chance to advance. It's not to say that again we're doing the same job, same equal like options or whatever. It's just the opportunities that and the typical roles that we have in society that interfere with career. One of the answers I wanted to say almost was empowering our women more, and I feel like I should have said that now that we're saying that, because that's part of it.
Hmm.
Just it's not for everybody. It depends on who you are, of course, but just steering away from that typically. And if you, yeah, diving into coaching.
So as we're just kind of along the same wavelength. So
Hmm.
when we talk about coach life balance, right?
Right.
Um, what are some of the hardest and easiest things about the job that nobody really knows? So, and then being a woman coach,
Right.
right? I'm sure
Right.
there may be some, but I'm not. I don't want to say I'm sure, but I'm guessing
Sure.
there may be some other things that we don't
Hmm.
know about. So what are the hardest and easiest things about the job that nobody really knows?
Um, some of the hardest things I would say is obviously the time you spend away from your family. I don't have kids of my own, so that's not maybe a personal struggle in that sense of having to step away from my job to be a mother. But on the flip side, I'm still somebody's daughter, I'm still somebody's sister, I'm still somebody's friend, right? And you have to sacrifice those things for your job. And while that's the case with every job, I don't think people realize like we're sacrificing holidays, and people think, oh well, teachers get the summers off. Eh, yeah, I haven't met one yet. I haven't met one yet. So it's things of that nature, right? When we're talking about people think, oh, it's just an X amount of month job, and you get holidays, weekends, and summers off. Yes, we're not at like we may not physically be at the school, or we may not be working the same hours that we're normally working, but that doesn't mean we're still not like putting our all into our job, right? Depending on the time of year, of course. Um, Track season always tends it's around mom's birthday, it's around Mother's Day, Easter, some pretty major things for me. So so that
Spring
getting
break.
spring break, oh yeah, tell me, yeah, talk about it. So just having to sacrifice those things, and it might be you'll get to see them at a different time, of course, and spend time with them differently. It's just not it's different than what it was growing up, of course. um and if we're talking specifically about girls, I think one of just the and I think it's not unrealistic to say that there ends up being drama and things of that nature that are involved in girls, and it's a different drama than boys. I'll say that, not to say that there isn't drama in boys sports or however you want to call it, but it's just different.
Yeah.
um and those are things you have to deal with too, and those are things I've had to learn. They teach me so much, it's insane. They probably teach me more than I teach them, honestly, and just how to deal with people and navigate that. So yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about track season.
Okay.
Of course so for those who don't know, so track is really like it's really a year-round sport, right?
It is. And
So
by
actually,
UIL, yeah, by UIL definition, sorry to interrupt you, it can be a year long sport. We don't have a start and end date. So we can go year round, exactly.
yeah. So What so we're getting ready for track season.
Hmm.
What month is it? We're looking, the track schedule is made. We're trying to run Mother's Day weekend, which is the
Hmm.
state track meet weekend here in Texas.
Hmm.
So when are we getting started? What does that look like? Is there an outline? How do you figure out, you know, how to get points here and how to get
Right.
points there? Like there's a science to it that I'm gonna
Absolutely.
be honest with you. I don't really know. So can you break that down for me?
I can try. I will definitely say I haven't perfected it. And I guess if anyone has, we'd all be at state next weekend, right? But
Right.
definitely, I guess the biggest thing is longevity, right? And it may not seem like it, but it's a long season. It's a grind, and just like we spoke on earlier, it can be considered a year-round sport, especially when you think about what is the training for track and field. We are running and we are lifting. Like, it's
Hmm.
very, it's pretty much black and white. So it for me, for what I've done, pretty much at or around Thanksgiving break is when we're like, okay, start getting spikes, start bringing spikes to school. We're hitting the ground running. We're starting to teach those little things. Shortly before, probably like during the month of December, we're working on our block starts and teaching block starts because a lot of them may come in not knowing how to do block. Like that's part of it. You got to teach. Um,
So let me ask this
mhm.
question. Do kids come out of blocks in middle school?
I think it depends on the middle school and the district
Okay.
you're in. Because I've worked in a district where it was required middle schoolers, like, y'all are using blocks too. Doesn't
What
mean
about
they're
summer track? So if young kids are
I think
running summer
that's
track, are they
I think
coming out of
that's optional
blocks?
too. I think that's optional also.
Okay.
I think it's
Okay.
optional. Yeah. I think they usually like let it depend on the kid. So it usually ends up being something I have to teach though, because even if they do know it, it may or may not be most effective for them to use, right?
Hmm.
Um, by Christmas break, that's the hard part about high school athletics. There's only X amount of time. We can't require them to be up here all day on Christmas Day, things like that.
Right.
So honestly, through Christmas break, it's a maintain phase for me. It's maintaining, and we're picking it back up when we come back in January. Usually, first meet is mid February, right? With still training all the way through there and start tailoring off towards spring break area so that we're peaking right at district. So that's the rough outline I've used. It looked a little bit different this year because we only had freshmen at the school because it was a brand new school and there were no varsity teams. So it looked a little bit different, but that's typically what I do the last 4 years I've been a head coach.
Okay. So you've been a head coach 4 years.
Yeah,
This was your first year at your new school. And how
correct.
many, and you only had freshmen, right?
Only freshmen. Only freshmen.
And what did your freshmen do at the district meet?
Those freshmen competed against sophomores, juniors, and seniors and won the district meet. A meet that were not in their district, B, not in their UIL classification. They're a class ahead of us. Won the sub varsity district meet by 110 points. So that is the absolute highlight of our season. I couldn't be more proud as their coach. Truly,
And how
truly.
many how many freshmen?
All freshmen, literally every one of them, every
Yeah.
single one
How
of them.
how many kids did you have?
I probably had about 20 to 22 kids.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty decent
Outstanding.
size. Yeah, decent size.
So brand new school opens, win a district championship with just freshmen. Um, so before you were at this school, you were at Spring High School, correct?
Correct, correct,
And you were the head coach there for 3 years.
correct.
Did you
First
win
one being
district
COVID
there?
year. The first one was COVID year. So no, I didn't win district our first year. Our season obviously got cut short after spring break.
Okay.
In 21 and 22, I did win district that spring, the varsity district.
All right. So, she's going to be real humble about it, but I'm just going to go ahead and tell you that's, in case you weren't paying attention, that's back to back to back. That's a three-peat. So all she does is win, y'all. All she
Oh
does is
no.
win.
Yeah,
So
that's the goal. That's the goal.
all she does is win. So I mean, it's out there. The proof
Thank
the
you.
proof is out there. The proof is in the pudding.
Hey,
All
we're
right,
all
let's
hustling.
keep
We're all
going.
working hard. Let's do
So
it.
what does a hard day look like versus a light day in track? What does that look like?
Okay, so if you ask a short sprinter, a hard a hard day is going to be anything over 200 meters multiple times, right? So when we're training intensive tempo, whether that's a 200 or a 400 sprinter, those are typically longer distances and greater reps at faster times. Right? You still have ample enough break, but they're meant to deplete your system. They are meant to deplete you so that your body knows how to react and bounce back to when you're actually in a race, right? And you don't,
Mhm, mhm.
lose it after 300 meters, right? So that could be anything like repeat 200s, that could be 300s and mix of 200s. It can be a lot of things. But we don't run over, I will say we won't run over 500 meters for a 400-meter sprinter. Like that's where I'll cap them at, is that 500 meters. So that would be a harder day for most people would consider that a hard day. An easier day, besides our recovery day, like when we're talking, it would probably be a speed day when we're doing acceleration. So that might be handoffs, that'd be block starts. We're going over wickets, like we're running fast. The only way to get faster is to run fast. You have to sprint. So those typically look like the easier days for the sprinters.
Okay, okay. So uh, track season is a long season.
Oh yeah.
I mean, actually, there is no track season. There's just track years
Track
because
year.
there's technically no season. So, do do you ever lose sleep during the season? Is there
you
anything
know,
that causes you to lose sleep?
yes. And I'm not gonna lie, but it's over good things too. Honestly, I'm one of those people that if we have a great performance, if we, I'm not even just winning. Like that's great. I love it. I'm happy for him. But we got to look at the individuals, right? So let's say I have a lot of
Hmm.
PRs, or we run season bests or anything like that. I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing all night. Like I have a hard time, once we clear the locker rooms out and leave the field house and get home, trying to wind down. Like those are usually some late nights, regardless of what time we finish. So those are usually the things I lose sleep on. Don't get me wrong, there are some maybe not so positive things you lose sleep on, but it's part of it, and I'm thankful for it because I know it means I care, and I'm
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
thankful to be in the position I'm in. So I've always said, like, my big thing is I'm trying to do right by them. So I feel like me losing sleep on it, if the problem gets resolved, it gets resolved. I try not to bring work home too much, but sometimes you can't help it.
yeah. All right. So let me ask you this: best high school runner that you've ever seen. Let me say athlete. Best high school athlete that you've ever seen and or coached.
Okay. This is hard. So I'm just gonna keep it to coaching because honestly, these kids are just so talented today. It's actually insane. Like I don't know if you saw, it just happened over the weekend. This is nuts. A girl, she was not highly recruited. Are you familiar with Port Neches? Port Neches girls, PNG.
PNG. I'm not
PNG.
real familiar, but I
Okay.
am. I do know PNG.
They're a 5A school towards Beaumont, right? They had a girl come out. She was not highly recruited out of high school. She ran for Northwestern State, and she's now the U.S. leading under 2,400 runner. So it's just like when I tell you, like the kids are just so talented these days. I'm actually in awe of it for real. So I'm gonna go with this. I'm gonna
Yes.
tell you the best ones I've coached, like that I've seen and gotten to work with personally. Not taking any credit because they just came to me so naturally gifted, truly. But for truly for boys, DK for sure. That'll be Dorian, who
Okay.
is actually a football player at the University of Houston right now. But when I tell you, it just you just needed somebody to supervise him. If you could record it and then show it to him, I mean, he can figure it out. Like he knows exactly like what he needs to tweak, whatever the case is. I remember doing
Hmm.
handoffs with them when they were on a relay, like his junior and senior year, and it's just like you don't even have to spend that much time with them because they just pick it up so quickly. Also
Yeah.
being a natural athlete too, being around the track culture too, is very helpful. But it's pretty amazing how quickly those really talented athletes will pick up on things. um for girls, the most talented girl I've coached is probably Raya. Raya is a junior at Spring right now, and I got to coach her freshman and sophomore year at Spring. She was
Hmm.
on a 4x1. She was a short hurdler for us, and again, just superwoman. She can do it all. She can long jump, she can triple jump, she can hurdle, long, short. She can high jump, 4x1, all of it. She's going to state this weekend. She's going to state in the hurdles this weekend as a junior. So,
Awesome. That's
definitely
awesome.
yeah, for sure, definitely some of the two most talented and athletic athletes I've gotten to work with.
Okay. Okay. So let me ask you this. Which one is tougher? Coaching track or running track?
Running, running, for
Running?
sure, for sure, for sure. Because the thing is, I'm saying tougher. Maybe if you ask, like, if you changed it to more mentally taxing, then I might change my answer. But definitely
Okay.
just all in all, because when you're talking about actually being a competitor, and you and I know what this takes. So, like, some people have to learn this, and I was one of that had to learn it. But knowing what I know now, yeah, I'm talking sleep, nutrition, recovery. The things that we want to think of are just the extras and they matter so, so much. It's the little stuff, truly. So I definitely say running is harder, but
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious to know other
No.
coaches' answers to that too.
Yeah, I'm definitely uh getting some other track and field coaches on here to because
Yeah.
I want that feedback because I considered
Hmm.
I considered running track in high school. And
Okay.
then, I saw one of the guys coming off the track one day with booty lock. And I was like,
It's
no,
real.
I don't,
It's
I
real.
don't know. I was
It's
like, no,
real.
I
You
don't want to
know,
experience that
and
ever.
and the reason it's so hard is because it's so hard to see what you're working towards. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to train the whole first semester before you can compete. It's so unique of a sport like that, you know? And so it's that mindset is so much different as an athlete, truly.
So how do you as a coach get to see, get the kids to see where you're going? How do you get the kids to buy in and trust the process?
That was the hardest thing about this year. I will tell you, that was the hardest thing about being a head coach this year because we only had freshmen. I didn't have anyone that I could say, not say, but anything I could defer to. Like they don't know about the previous district championships or what I've done or they don't care either. They don't care. They're like,
Right.
we're here to run track.
Right.
And so truly, it took several months for that to happen, for that to buy in. Track is also unique in the sense of I only had a handful of girls at the beginning of the year because a lot of other girls were in other sports. They're playing volleyball, they're playing
Yeah.
basketball, they're in tennis, whatever the case is. So a lot of them, it honestly took me getting that full team and being able to build up the culture there. And once they saw from one meet, just not even one meet, a practice in January to a practice in March, the difference,
Mhm.
their times
Mhm.
being different, that was the process right there. When you can physically see, the best thing about track is you can see it, the numbers don't lie. When I can see a tangible number getting lower and lower and lower, okay, we're on the right path, right?
Yeah.
So it took a while, but being that we had the success we did, I think this class is there for sure.
Okay. So which way does track lean? Does track lean more to an individual sport or does track lean towards a team sport?
I'm glad you asked me that. I love that question because in reality, in all reality, if we're looking at the professionals on TV, if we're watching Sha'Carri Richardson or whoever run, right? It's gonna
Mhm.
be, oh, that's an individual sport. Like it's her training, right? But in high school, are we more concerned about the results or the development of the athlete? Right? So if we're concerned about the development of the athlete, it has to be a team sport. You have to build that culture, you have to have that cohesion, like there's no other way around it. So truly one of the more difficult parts of my job as a head coach is making that understanding that this is a team sport. And when you choose not to, go 100% or miss practice or whatever the case is, it's not just you're affecting, right? So we have to make it a team sport in high school for sure.
Okay, that is
Hmm.
that's a great answer. So, like, do track coaches give, like speeches, like a pre-race or a post-race
A
speech
rah rah
to get the
speech.
kids? Yeah. Does that happen in track, or
It
is it like,
does.
listen, let's
Y'all gotta
go,
go. Y'all gotta go.
right?
Both of those happen. Both of those things happen because the thing is, if you know your athletes, right, the same way if you know your players, like you can see when it's not just basketball that's the problem, or it's not just track that's the problem. It's something else. Like it's something as a team, as a program that we've got to come together collectively on. So I won't say like, oh, I planned these speeches or anything of the sort, but definitely you have to. I mean, before we get to a bigger meet, right, a district, an area, or something of the sort, that'll come out. But honestly, it's one of those things that is kind of just in the moment. It's really in the moment, and whatever lesson needs to be delivered at that time, it's going to get delivered.
Okay. Okay. So, um, if you could be anything other than a coach, what would you be?
I want to ring the opening bell on Wall Street every day.
Listen, so I,
That
I
was
I
the
was
best
reading that
job.
in your questionnaire, and I was like, but like, okay,
How
so
does
tell
that
me
work?
why. Tell
No,
me why. Tell me
I'm
why.
joking. I spent a lot of time watching the news when they would have the opening bell sessions, and they're just so excited. Like they're so pumped up for the day, and I just love that. I just like the energy.
They are.
No, let me give you
Listen,
a real answer. Go ahead. No,
I
go ahead.
no, I thought that was a real answer. I was just, just
I
tell me
wish.
more.
I wish. I wish. No, honestly, I think I would work for the federal government. If I wasn't in education, I would probably work for the federal government.
Okay. All right. So I wish I had like the little bell because right now we're headed
I
into the
know.
bell
We're
lap.
here.
We're
Let's
headed to
do
the
it.
bell lap. We're here. All right, here we go. So we're gonna go four, three, two, and one. So here's the four.
Okay.
Any any four people, if you could put any four people on a relay, who are you putting on that relay and what leg are
Oh,
they running? Any four
that's
people, doesn't
oh my
matter, male or
gosh.
female.
That's such a good question. Okay, we'll do a co-ed relay. We'll do a co-ed relay.
Okay.
Um and you know what? What which relay is should have been my first question actually. Which relay?
So
Is
my
it 4 by
favorite
1?
so yeah, let's do 4 by 1.
I'm not
Let's
mad
go
at a
four by
4 by
one.
4. I have an answer for that one too. All right, here we go.
Well,
4 by
let's
1.
do both of them. Let's do both of them.
We'll do both. Allison Felix
Okay.
is going on both. I'll say that. Allison Felix has both spots. Um,
Versatility.
yeah, absolutely. She can do it all.
Yeah.
She carries on my 4 by 1 now. Um,
Okay.
yeah,
Ran a
yeah.
fastest time in the year. I mean, fastest
Insane.
time in the world right now.
Insane, right? And
Yeah.
and totally win legal. So, Usain Bolt's got to come out of retirement, of course.
Definitely. Definitely.
Yeah, you can't miss that one. Who's my last one? Oh man, his name escapes me. He ran from Clemson, and now is it Coleman? Christian Coleman. Christian, not Clemson,
Okay.
Tennessee. Christian Coleman. He's my
Okay.
last one. So we'll go.
Who's running first leg? Who's scratching? Who's coming
Shakari.
out the blocks? Okay.
Shakari.
We know
Um,
Usain Bolt's running the
he's got
anchor,
to be
right?
fourth. Yeah, I was trying
Right.
to go girl boy girl boy. Hold on. So then Christian's got to be second, and then Allison's got to be third.
Okay. Okay. So
I might
I
switch
wanted
Allison and Shakari. Might switch
okay,
them.
so I wanted to ask this. So, what's the science to a relay? Like, what's the science and the art to a relay? Because I know, like in the 4 by 1, somebody might have to run 110 meters,
Exactly.
So, what's the
Exactly.
science behind that
The
before we get to the 4 by 4?
it varies for me, and I won't lie to you. Education and coaching is a profession of sharing. So when you don't know something, somebody else does. You go ask, or you go find it on the internet, because your problem isn't unique, right? Somebody had a
Right.
problem before that. So for a 4 by 1, personally, the two things that I know are for sure, I will always put whoever can run the fastest, the longest, that second leg. I usually like
Right.
to put a hurdler there. I like my hurdlers there because they have that stamina, right? And for my
Okay.
fourth leg is my competitor. It may not necessarily be my fastest athlete. It may not be, but who's going to fight? Like, who's going to have that dog come out at the end of the race when we need it, right? First and second can kind of vary. It truly depends on the athletes and their like their strengths, I guess. If they're a better 200 runner, they might be first leg. If they tend to gas out pretty quickly on a one, like me when I was in school, you might go to third leg because it'll be a little bit shorter for you. So it just
Okay.
depends on the
Okay.
runner. Yeah,
Okay.
2 and 4 for sure.
Okay. But that anchor leg got to have that dog.
Got to,
That's
got
the
to.
that's what I love about athletics, man.
Absolutely.
Athletics, if you got if you got a dog, oh my
Yep.
goodness.
I
Four
love
by
that.
four. Who's
Oh,
on the
four
four
by
by
four.
four?
All right. Still Allison Felix, like we said, Allison Felix is staying on there. Michael Cherry's going on the 4 by 4.
Okay.
Um, um, Sydney McLaughlin's definitely going on the 4 by 4, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually might make her my
Mm-hmm.
anchor because yeah.
Okay.
Now I'm missing another boy. I might need help. I might need a lifeline. I'm
Him
missing a male.
he the gold shoes in the 96 Olympics.
We throwing him on there?
I mean, you know, Like if yeah, I mean, how can we not put Michael Johnson on this relay?
We'll take it. We'll take it. All right, that's my fourth. So, but that order would definitely go Allison first, Michael Cherry second, probably Sydney third, and then Michael fourth.
Man,
There we go.
that's a hell of a relay.
There we
All
go.
right. All right, so here's the next thing. We
Okay.
need white flags at all the exchange zones. So it's 3 exchange zones in the 4 by
Love
1. Is
it.
that right?
Love it. That's
All
correct.
right. So we need all white flags. So here we go. Exchange zone 3. Give us 3 things that all coaches need. 3
Three things.
things that all coaches need.
Definitely support, right?
Okay.
It's obviously long nights, early mornings, it's weekends, it's holidays, it's missing birthdays, it's missing events, whatever the case is. I'm not going to say you're not doing this without a good base, but it is very hard. And I think the more successful ones have a good support system around them. So fill up your support system, and it may not even be the people that think you may have to associate with. Like, it may not be certain people in your family or certain colleagues that you have, but you need to fill your inner circle with good people.
Mhm.
So definitely
Mhm.
support as the first one. Um, the second one, I said a controlled ego, because I don't think you, yeah,
You got to have some ego,
you got
right?
to have something, right? You have to have that some kind of
A little
confidence,
bit.
but you can't be obnoxious, you can't be closed-minded, you can't be completely unwilling to listen to somebody. It may be somebody that's never ran track and field before in their life, and if they tell me something that might ring a bell to me, I'm not going to be like, oh, well, this person never blah blah blah. Like, it might be a good idea. So I'm just saying, you have to have at least that open-mindedness to listen to people. Last one, something to keep you grounded. So I said this kind of vaguely, but I more so meant like maybe your religion, your faith, your spirituality, whatever the case is. Just something, for lack of better words, to keep you zen, something to keep you still you. So those are my
Yeah.
three.
Okay, that's good. That's good. All right, 2. And you may have alluded to these earlier. 2 of the toughest things about being a track coach, or just 2 of the toughest things you've experienced as a coach in general.
One, I'll give you one of each for that one. So one of
Okay.
the hardest things about being a track coach, it's the best. It's one of the best and hardest things, if I'm being completely honest, is sharing athletes. We love multi-sport athletes. I will always be in support of multi-sport athletes, 100%. Um,
Mhm.
where we're
Agree.
talking injury
Agree.
prevention, just a well-rounded person working on general athleticism, especially going from another sport to track and working on those
Yes.
skills. Like, that's always, always, always a good thing. Sometimes it just, it gets really hard when people are like, oh, it's just my second sport. You know the type. So it gets a little frustrating when it's like that as a coach, and that's something I'm still trying to navigate, I would say, as a head coach. Um,
Mhm. Mhm.
is maybe like the athlete's full commitment when this isn't their first sport. And that's something I have to learn too as a head coach. Like, how do I get someone who is just out here to get faster to buy in and understand that we need you and you can contribute? You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I would definitely say that is one of the harder things about being a track coach. Um, and then what was the other one?
That's good. Just something as a coach in general, one of the
Oh
toughest things
yeah.
you've experienced as a coach in general.
I would say another tough thing is probably, I guess, any accusation that I may not be fully supportive of my athletes or my kids, or somebody, and you're gonna get it. It is what it is, and it hurts to
Right.
hear, because of, like, we do pour all that we do into it, and it's a tough pill to. It's something hard to listen to, definitely, when you're being critiqued and saying that it's not even about your coaching, just that, oh, you don't care about my kid. And it's like, that's the very first thing I care about. Like, that's actually like the wild thing for me to hear. So yeah, I would say those are
Yeah.
two of the hardest things. Yeah.
That is definitely tough to be accused of something. It's almost like like you're attacking my integrity.
Right.
Like
Like, my purpose, like
like
why I'm here. Like,
right, like I am here for your kid. Like
exactly.
this is why I'm here. So I would never do that. All right. So this last thing, this is something that we do on my other podcast, the Network with Michael Prejean.
Mhm.
Shameless plug. All right. So I want you to give us one piece of unsolicited advice. Nobody asked, but you're gonna tell us series
No,
listening to.
just going off. No, it's good.
Nobody asked for this unsolicited advice, but you're going to give it to us anything. You're going to give it to us anyway. So what is this one
Yes.
thing? It can be
I
anything.
I would say don't forget to be the student. Like never stop learning. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the game. It doesn't matter how short you've been in the game. There's always stuff to learn. There's always a better there's always a way you can get better. And whether that's personally, professionally, whatever the case is, I am specifically talking about coaching, but do things like be active in a way like so you can learn. Whether that is listening to the network with Michael Prejean or reading a book or whatever I don't know, whatever it is, whatever helps you, you gotta you can't stop growing.
Coach Weeks, that is excellent. And that is why she is going to be an athletic director one day,
We hope
or
so.
a superintendent one day, because all she does is win. But she's so humble and gracious, and she is a student of the profession. Coach Weeks, thank you
Thank
so much
you. I had such a
for
good
joining
time.
me tonight. No, this was excellent. There are so many gems dropped in this episode. Listen, I'm Coach P, signing off for Coach Weeks. This is the Coaches Co-op podcast. And I'm just going to tell you this: coaches do what most people can't. We are not average.